As a manager of a very complex operation, we understand that you don't have time to sit at a desk all day and monitor the progress of your team. You need to be out in the field. You need to be interacting with your team members. You need to be training people. You're a busy person. That's why we've developed the Supervisor app to allow you to be out in the field and still monitor progress at any given minute. What you see here is the landing page for the Supervisor app login. You would use the same credentials to log in here that you would use to log into the desktop version. When you do, the first thing you see is this wheel. It's the same as the status center wheel that you would see on the desktop version, and it has the same meanings. Blue means that the unit has been cleaned, inspected, and is ready for guest check-in. Green means it's been cleaned, it's waiting for inspection. Yellow means it's in progress being cleaned, and red means it has not been started and needs attention. If you scroll on down, you can see that for this particular instance, we have 3 tasks not started, 2 that have been started, 1 that has been finished and waiting for inspection, and 1 unit that's ready for guest check-in. If we were to scroll further down, we would see if we have any facility inspections provided per day. Depending on your account, you may be doing facility inspections to check behind specific inspectors and cleaners, or you may be using facility inspections to check behind your common area attendants. And you can get to those facility inspections just by clicking on this wheel, or you can also get to those by clicking up here and clicking on facility inspections. Because we don't have any facility inspections loaded, we won't go through that process at this time, but all you would have to do is simply click on facility inspections, and it guides you through the process of doing that inspection, much like you would do for a normal inspection of a room. Okay. Now, because we want to focus in on some other items, we're going to click in on the wheel, and we can click in on any color, any variation of the wheel, and it'll take us to that page. So if I click on not started, I see that I have 3 tasks not started. There's a service request, and there's a departure clean. I can click in on any task and assign it to someone. You see that John Doe's been assigned this clean. He hasn't started it. I can keep it at John, or I can change it to someone else. I can see that there's not a house attendant assigned here, so I can assign a house attendant from here. And let's assume that maybe Inspector Gadget has gotten sick or has gotten behind, I can reassign to another available inspector, all from the app. So I close this out and go back. In addition, just like we saw on the wheel, we can also see the status of all the units. We can click all. We can see that we have 3 not started, 2 checked in, 1 checked out, and 1 completed. Now, immediately, you also will notice that there's a TA to the right-hand side of the task. That TA means that's a turnaround, a back-to-back. Guest checking out, guest checking in. Something we need to pay attention to. Now, we'll also notice on the completed task that when it was inspected, it graded a 72.73. Depending on your expectations for that resort, that unit, that may be above or below your grade. What I would do is use that grade, and if I notice that the grade was really low, I would want to go back and check that unit myself to make sure that all the items that were noted as being deficient were repaired and or fixed. I would also watch this. If I see grades of 95 or above or 100, I would be concerned that my inspector wasn't looking closely enough for items. We have some very good cleaners in the industry, but almost all of them will miss 1 to 2 items each time that could potentially grade you below a 95. So those are a couple of key identifiers that I always look for when I'm using the app myself. Now, the other thing that you would really want to make sure that you're doing is staying on top of your client services. For example, if a client service has come through and hasn't been assigned by the dispatcher, you have the ability to assign it to someone. So if this has come through, I can assign it to any number of house attendants that are available at the time. Okay. I can also assign it to a room attendant or someone else. All right. You could also see from this perspective if there were any work orders that were pending to be completed. And you could, let me go back. You could also continue to monitor the status of the services wheel. I would highly encourage you to keep an eye on the services wheel because that helps you track your burn down. Monitor it at different points of the day, maybe at 11:30. Where do you expect your team to be At 1 o'clock, where do you expect your team to be? 2:30, where should they be? At 3 o'clock, if you notice that you have a high volume of items not started, perhaps you want to start moving people that have completed their workload for the day over to help you close those out, or maybe you want to do it sooner. But this app gives you the ability to monitor progress of the day from a 10,000 foot view while you're able to be out in the field. Now that concludes our app perspective overview. We're going to switch back and start looking at more basic features in the desktop version.